The deck is an important part of your living space. We talk to the professionals to learn how to keep it beautiful for years to come. We're here with Steve Chapman, president of Elite Pressure Washing and Deck Restoration Guru. Steve, tell us about your business.
We've been in business since 1994. We're a full-service pressure washing company. We do about 3,000 decks and houses a year. We focus on pressure washing of decks, houses, fences, concrete, but our main primary business is deck restoration.
What is deck restoration?
Well, there's really only 5 things you could do with the deck. You could wash it, you could strip it, you could sand it, seal it, or stain it. And it really depends on the condition of your wood, the type of decking material you have, the age of the wood. So it's kind of like a doctor. We prescribe based on the conditions of your deck.
Tell us about the deck stripping process.
Well, you'd get your deck stripped if you have a previous semi-transparent stain on your deck, because if you put a new semi-transparent stain on, then it's going to look blotchy if you don't get the old stain off. This ensures that it's going to be an even appearance. You don't want to put a new good product on top of something that's old and failed.
So the next step is pressure washing?
Yes, you'd strip it with a detergent and then you'd pressure wash it. We use a low pressure system because wood is inherently soft, and so you don't want to use hard pressure to dig up the wood. We also use a degreaser. A degreaser loosens up the mold and mildew, so when we pressure wash we don't have to use as much pressure. Pressure by itself is hard, where wood is soft, and it'll damage the wood if you use a lot of pressure.
Why is it so important to sand?
Well, Consumer Reports about 3 years ago recommended sanding as a main feature in deck restoration. We do it a little bit differently. We don't use a drum sander, which digs up the wood, because wood, unlike the inside of your floors, your hardwood floors are even. Wood on your deck is uneven. So we use carbide brushes, and it removes the soft fibers in your wood. This is typically something that's pulled out from a deck sanding service. This would typically go in your foot or in your hands if you have children playing. So this is why this service is important.
Once the sanding process is completed, how do you preserve your deck?
Well, there's really 2 ways you could preserve a deck. You could do it by sealing, which is a film forming finish that sits on top of your wood. It only lasts a year and it's clear. So it does give you protection, it does keep up the aesthetics of the deck, but it lasts a year. So you have to rewash it next year.
And then what does staining do?
Staining lasts 3 to 5 years. We guarantee ours for 3 years, and that's a penetrating finish, so it gets inside of your wood and protects it from the inside out, and gives it color, so it has more UV protection, and it makes your deck look better longer.
Why is it so important to restore your deck?
Well, decks are the gathering spot for so many times for friends and family. It's a place where they celebrate birthdays and graduations and Mother's Day, Father's Day. It's where you spend a lot of your memory-making moments. Decks are a place of refuge and retreat. It's this place where you can actually stop and smell the flowers. Thinking of how our customers use the decks inspires our passion to make their deck beautiful, safe, and preserved now and for years to come.
What are some of the questions you get from your customers?
Well, one of the big questions that customers have is about how do we protect their property and their plants and their siding. And we go through a long, painstaking process to make sure that we plastic up the siding to protect it from any overspray, as well as using plastic and tarps to protect bushes and plants and items that they take a lot of care, a lot of pride that the customers take pride in.
Are the chemicals that you use safe?
Our products are diluted 15 to 1 through a machine, the cleaning materials, so that way it won't affect plants or small animals or children or anything like that. All the other materials that we use are VOC compliant, so they're based on California standards, which are really high.
What are some other ways to make your home or other property look newer?
Well, pressure washing is the fastest and cheapest way to make the old look new. We work with a lot of property managers and real estate agents in preparing their clients' homes for sale. It's relatively inexpensive to make the biggest impact.
What are some tips you can give us?
Boys, when they're younger, they like playing with squirt guns, and when they get older, it's like the same concept. They get out there and they blast away at their deck. Every Monday morning, we get a ton of phone calls from women whose husbands try to pressure wash their deck, and they're calling us in a panic to try and restore or undo what's already been done. So pressure washing really should be left to the professionals, unless it's something that you've done quite a bit of in the past, because wood is soft and you can damage the wood.
Thanks for joining us today, Steve. And if you'd like more information on Elite Pressure Washing, visit washmydeck.com.